back into his own zone there. But no, look, he's just trying to find a seam and know that, hey, I'm going to try to force it to him if he's open.
Here is Ovechkin. Shoots. He scores! He scores! Number 895!
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. This is the Sports Cave. Your co-host Robbie, my co-host Zach Roden here. Zachary, you are the hockey, what's the word I'm looking for here? Hockey Hall of Famer of the podcast, essentially. You know, just like Alex Ovechkin, future Hall of Famer. You're the Hall of Famer of the podcast.
I'll take it. I mean, definitely not a Hall of Famer in regards like our boy Alex Ovechkin. Robbie,
Zachary,
what we witnessed here this Sunday against our good pal Ryan's New York Islanders is something that we very well need to realize that we may never see again. A man scoring 895 goals, surpassing Wayne Gretzky, becoming the all-time leader in NHL goals. Alexander Ovechkin stands alone, Robert. He picks up 2 goals in his 800 he picks up 2 goals. Oh, we have a phone call here.
Yeah, Steve's calling.
Yeah.
You want me to pick up for Steve? You want me to call him back?
Yeah, call him back.
All right. Well, I think we know why I was calling him earlier.
Yeah, you can say it live in the air.
No, I cannot. You fucking moron. No, I can't.
All right. But Alexander Ovechkin pots in 2 goals in the game before the Islanders on Sunday, tying Wayne Gretzky's record. And then he goes on and has a chance to get an empty netter. Oh, we have a caller here, so we'll let this one go here.
Did you have anything you want to say in the Sports Cave at this time that you called, or no, sir?
No, I was calling you back because you called me 7 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. I will tell you what was said after the show. It cannot be put on air.
Roger that, sir. Well, let's go Sports Cave. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Steve.
He said, hi, Baldy. I can't.
Why? Like, you know what?
Don't lie to me.
Actually, I'll get Steve to go listen back to this. I'll tell him 3 minutes in.
You know what?
What's
Just
that?
like him, he's a big fat brown.
He's laughing. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you.
All right.
So you were saying?
Fuck you. That's what I'm saying, you scumbag piece of shit. Basically what I was saying, Robbie, was he gets 2 goals in the game before the Islanders game there, and he has a chance to break the record with an empty net goal. And he basically tells his coach, I don't want to even be out there. I want to score a legitimate goal to break the record, which you have to respect, Robbie. And not only does he score a legitimate goal, but he gets it in essentially what has been known as Ovechkin's office for the last 20 years. Right at the top of the circle. It wasn't a one-timer, but it was in the same location. It's just poetic justice is what it is. Turn my echo on there a little bit. But we now have a new all-time goal leader, Robbie, and I don't think anyone here thought that we were going to get a Wayne Gretzky goal record broken at any time in our lifetime or any time this season for that matter. But the year that Ovi's had, I mean, he broke his leg. I'm going to say broke his leg because I would like to see the severity of that because the motherfucker came back in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Broke his leg. I believe he's 2nd or 3rd. He's in the top 3 or 4 right now of goal scoring in the NHL. Let me just confirm that number real quick. Of course, it's just taking its time.
Hey, we actually do have a couple things to talk about in football. I'm going through like my tweets here, tweet things here, and this one has to be mentioned later on when we talk some NFL. We will talk some NFL today, folks. We have some MLB, we have some NBA. Hell, we got some golf and UFC, but right now we are going to be discussing the greatness of Alexander Ovechkin.
OV right now sits 4th in the league at 42 goals, 1 behind Thompson for 3rd and 2 behind William Nylander for 2nd. So, I mean, Draisaitl was just a runaway now this year for the Rocket Richard. But Alexander Ovechkin, 895 goals, Robbie. First time in my life I've ever seen a game pause halfway through the game and they just do a full-on half-an-hour ceremony with speeches Wayne Gretzky came out and did a speech. It was very much something to watch.
And Zach, only ESPN can turn it into a Ovechkin or LeBron debate. I don't know if you got a chance to see all that.
Oh my God, I did not. Was this about how they're saying that someone was saying Ovechkin has a better longevity?
I have this clip here where the guy quote tweeted goes, "They really did. They turned what does Ovechkin's record mean for LeBron's legacy?" So, do you want to listen to this? It's a 2-minute clip.
Sure.
Folks, tune in because this is really infuriating. It really is, and we'll break it down afterwards. So this is on ESPN's First Take, not to be confused with the blurb page right there. ESPN First Take.
But what I'm saying, LeBron's great, but he ain't Kobe, he ain't Jordan for me. So what I'm saying is, it's not about size. You want to talk about 6'9"? I'm talking about the
Jordan's fine.
You
can't say Kobe.
Well, yeah, I did. I put Kobe ahead of him. Kobe's ahead of LeBron.
PK, I've heard you say this. You base everything on mentality. Oh, they were at the end of the day. A black mamba gets his credit because it's the only snake that will attack you without provocation. But it's not as dangerous as a taipan. It's not as dangerous as a common brown. So what are we talking about here? John Wick kills a lot of people, but so did James Bond. So what are we doing if the job gets done?
Okay, well, hold on. Hold on. If we're measuring greatness, let's talk about that. Hold on, Shannon, let's talk about that. Because, Shannon, you've won, right? You've won. Let's measure greatness.
I just want to go back really quick. Is it me or does Miley look really good?
Which one's that? The one, the only female there? She got a set of pipes on her, though. I don't like those arms.
And let's talk about that. Because, Shannon, you've won, right? You've won. Let's measure greatness for a second. If we're measuring greatness, it's not just about the numbers. It's not just about the numbers and the impact on the court for me. For me, it's situational. It's also about the moments, rising to the moment and showing that you are capable of influencing fear into the other team. When I look at great players, that's what they all have the quality to do. I'm sorry. There's nobody in basketball other than Kobe and LeBron that has ever instilled fear in their opponents like those two guys.
Kobe and Jordan.
Kobe and Jordan. Excuse
Shout out to Steve. Thank you, Steve.
me. That's why I have those two ahead of everyone. I'm just saying, that's my opinion.
Thank you, but also fuck you, Steve.
Did they fear him? Ask the teams for that 8-year span in which LeBron James went to every NBA Finals in the East. Did they fear him? Because if they didn't,
that's why he's the second greatest of all time.
I put Kobe. He ain't had Kobe for me.
Stephen A., we have to go to break. They keep telling me you need to go, actually. But I just want to ask you this, because obviously you've covered basketball the closest. Do you think it's fair to say players feared Jordan and Kobe more than LeBron?
1,000,000%.
I wouldn't say Kobe. Even though mad respect and deference to Kobe. But the only person that was universally feared was Michael Jordan. And I'm telling you what I know. That ain't a guess. You understand me? That's not a guess.
I got some NBA friends too, Steven.
But
I mean, PK Subban is also a fucking retard too. At the end of the day,
I do respect the way he stood up for hockey after the Four Nations, though. He did a great job.
Yeah, that was just a bad debate to have, though. I mean, well, either way, I think we can move on, Robert.
I really got to say something, dude. I really do.
Well, go on.
Two things. One, between Ovi breaking Gretzky's goal record and LeBron breaking Kareem's record, which one's more impressive to me? Is Ovi 11 out of 10, and it's not because I hate LeBron. It's because in the NBA, you could score 2 points and 3 points. A goal only costs one fucking score. One score. There was 2 lockouts, correct, Zachary, during his career? 2 lockouts?
Well, 1 full season, 1 half season. So
okay.
I'll say 1.5.
1.5 and COVID. A lot of time missed in between with the full lockout. So, Zach, I mean, let's be honest. Obi would have gotten this done last year, 2 years ago. Would you agree?
I mean, for sure, at least last year. But yeah, he probably would have this done a few seasons ago. If we did.
Okay.
Like we're talking about 2 full seasons if you count the COVID, the half lockout, and the full season lockout. Yeah, we're talking probably more than 2 seasons he's missed.
Okay. Let's also talk about the way they celebrated. Okay. It's a team sport, and you're only as good as your team around you, whether they are all-stars, whether they're bench players, whether they go to a league outside the United States that isn't better than the NBA or the NHL. They are your team. When Obi got his 895th goal, he celebrated with his teammates. LeBron passed Kareem. He just stood by himself and didn't celebrate with any teammates. That's number 2. It shows the difference between them. Number 3.
Or it shows the difference between the sport.
4, sure. Number 3. Just goes on about my rant last week about ESPN. I had aspirations and dreams of one day working for ESPN. I want zero part of it because we're talking about something that you literally just alluded to 10 minutes ago. Not even. We'll say 7 minutes ago. Will this record ever get broken? We'll never know. With the direction that the NBA is going towards, with the way that they're hoisting up threes, and yeah, they can't play 20 years because, you can't come out of high school anymore. There's a better chance of someone breaking LeBron James' record than Alexander Ovechkin's record. That's a goddamn fact. And just the fact that you can't just let PK, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Shannon Sharp, Stephen A., Molly, do what you did the last time PK was on. Shut the fuck up and let him explain to the audience the greatness of Alexander Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby, etc., etc. Instead, we turn it into a LeBron James versus Alexander Ovechkin debate. What are we doing? What is sports media turned into? What happened to the worldwide leader of sports? Not the worldwide leader of sucking LeBron James's cock. The worldwide leader of Jordan versus LeBron. The worldwide leader of the NBA this, the NBA that, the NBA this. It is disgusting. It is annoying. And God damn it, dude, the day I get my own place, I could live without ESPN. MLB won't be on ESPN anymore. The NBA is a fucking joke. The only thing I'll be missing out on is NHL hockey when the Leafs are on. Okay? It's a disgrace that the most viewable sports show in America had the audacity to turn Alexander Ovechkin's greatness, something he spent 20 plus years on, to catch that record and beat it. And Zach, you could probably name a lot of goal scorers that probably came close during our lifetime, like Jaromir Jagr and whoever else. Only one Alexander Ovechkin did it. And we're too busy talking about LeBron James, the late, great Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan. It's a fucking disgrace what ESPN has turned into. Disgusting.
I don't know why that surprises you for one bit. There's not one fucking person at ESPN that even knows what a hockey puck is. So it doesn't surprise me one bit, Robbie. And I mean, obviously, I guess with it, with hockey becoming more and more of a bigger sport, they're obviously going to have to expand and get somebody in there that's not a fucking absolute donkey when it comes to hockey knowledge. And I mean, I guess it is help have a guy like PK in there, but I also think that PK is just one of those guys that likes the sound of his own voice. And just for some of the shit that he says, it just, I think he knows deep in his heart that it's fucking absolutely asinine. But he thinks if it'll create a story, it'll create a headline, it'll keep his name out there. That's my opinion on a guy like a PK Subban. So I'd like to get someone a little bit better than him in there, But Robert, if we are going to keep it in the world of hockey, there is a smidgen of NHL news to go over here, Robert.
Now, should we give everybody the numbers leading up to the 894th goal by Alex Ovechkin?
Do you have them in front of you?
I have it side by side with Mr. Wayne Gretzky.
Slap them up.
All right, here we go. So, even strength, Ovi 498, Wayne Gretzky 560. Ovi had the significant advantage of power play, but Zach, it's a different sport. As we all know, a lot of things are definitely called a lot more of a penalty, I think you'd agree, than back when Wayne Gretzky was playing.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to get a penalty now.
Ovi had 5 shorthanded goals to Gretzky 73, 2 penalty shot to 1, and 65 empty netters to 56 of Wayne Gretzky. But also at the same time, Wayne Gretzky was also playing with smaller pads, I believe, too, correct?
Smaller pads. There wasn't anything known as a butterfly position back in the day, which is the modern position that every single goalie plays with now in today's age. It was all stand up and flailing shit. So,
Not from Wayne's greatness.
Wayne, first of all, say what you want about Wayne Gretzky, but there was other people playing in that exact same era, and he still has. You take away every single one of his goals, he still leads the entire NHL in all-time points, Robbie. Mm-hmm. Take away every single one of his goals, he has more assists than anyone else has points, which is just, it's just insane.
Yeah.
But Robbie, moving on real quick, not before saying one more congratulations to Mr. Alexander Ovechkin here from the Sports Cave. as the all-time leading NHL goal scorer. Robbie, the Winnipeg Jets are getting hot, and they are doing it at the right time, my friend.
How many playoff Winnipeg Jets games do you think Steve will be watching?
0. But the Winnipeg Jets, Robbie, 12 wins in a row, and unfortunately that came to an end at the hands. Jesus Christ. The St. Louis Blues, rather, on a 12-game win streak, absolutely blitzing hot. That comes at the end of the Winnipeg Jets, who hand them a first loss in 13 games rather. I believe it was last night, but I mean, a hell of a run for the Blues, who kind of weren't even a team that was
most recent game.
Yeah. Hell of a run for the Blues, who weren't even really in the playoff standings about a month ago. They were. It's kind of a similar feel to when they were when they had their cup run, Robbie.
Yeah.
Weren't really much of a team, and then all of a sudden they find a way to turn it around and become one of the hottest teams. Right now, sitting in the first wild card spot at 93 points, with 4 games left remaining. The closest team to catching them. Pardon me?
They have 3 left.
3 games remaining, rather. Sorry. The closest team to capturing them, or catching them rather, is Calgary Flames with 5 games remaining, sitting at 87 points. So 6 points behind. They would need some help from St. Louis, but Minnesota right behind them, 91 points rather. It's very tight in both the East and the West, Robbie. It is very tight in both the East and the West.
Just the way they like it.
Which is another thing that I'm going to bring into now that I have this playoff thing open here. Are the Florida Panthers
frauds
trying to bomb themselves out of the third place spot so they don't have to face Tampa Bay?
Highly possible.
Well, they've now lost 5 games in a row and now sit 2 points ahead of the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, that's depressing. I'm looking at the standings right now, dude. That's depressing.
Yeah, so it could have been a battle of the state of Florida or a battle of Ontario. And if Florida keeps fucking up, they might ruin that for us, Robert.
They definitely will. Should I give them the updated standing, Zachary?
Hit him with it, sister.
Okay, so when we look at the Atlantic Hour. Oh, that's the wrong one. Our Toronto Maple Leafs sit in first place in the Atlantic Division with 98 points, with 1 game less played than both the Lightning and the Panthers. The Lightning are below us with 96, the Panthers with 92. We head over to the Metropolitan, where it's led by the greatest goal scorer of all time, Alexander Ovechkin, and the Washington Capitals with 107 points. The next team behind them would be the Carolina Hurricanes with 96, and in third would be the Devils with 89. Jack Hughes is out for the remainder of the season, correct, sir?
Yep, and playoffs.
That's devastating. In the wild card, Zachary's half-brothers, stepdad, whatever, Ottawa Senators are the first in line with 90, as Zach was alluding to. The Panthers are trying to fuck it all up, so the Senators got to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. And second are those dirty bastards in Montreal, the Canadiens. Fuck them. And they have a convincing lead over the next group of teams here, Zachary. With only 1 game less played, I mean, they got to hope for a miracle here because the Canadiens are winners of 5 straight. The Red Wings of 2. They have 79. Tied with the Red Wings at 79 would be the New York Rangers. Right below them are the Islanders with 78. And unfortunately, the story is probably going to end, Zachary. Columbus Blue Jackets at 77, probably out.
Well, they've had a really rough last couple of games, Columbus.
Rough to look at here. Penguins and Bruins eliminated.
Yeah, and you know what, Robbie? I tell you what team I feel bad for here. Not so much for the team, but for the fans. The Detroit Red Wings, Robbie. It looks like they are going to be just the team that just missed it by a sliver back-to-back years.
They have a great fan base over there in Detroit, too. They were a dynasty for the longest period of time.
Yeah, very long dynasty. But, I think I would have to say that the East playoffs, in my opinion, are probably going to be set in stone here. I think Montreal is going to hold on to that last wild card spot, being 6 points up. Obviously, anything can happen, but That's just my guess. And the West, I'm going to say, is probably also going to stay the same, but you never know with Calgary. Maybe they make a bit of a late push, but
Now with the West, we can look over in the Central Division. Steve's Winnipeg Jets. I can't believe he fucking hopped over to the Jets. What a piece of shit. Steve's Winnipeg Jets in first in the Central with 110 points, which leads all teams in the NHL. In third is third in the NHL in terms of points, but second in the Central would be the Dallas Stars with 105. In third in the Central Division would be the Avalanche with 98. We go over to the Pacific. And Zachary, I believe you called this team to have the best record in hockey, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the year. I think you said it'd be the Vegas Golden Knights.
I said I think they're going to win the Cup this year.
The Cup, that's a whole entire different story. Well, they're in first Pacific, 102. And Zach, they've had a lot of success since their inaugurational season.
Well, sorry, I was reading a comment here from Polar Knights. Polar Knights, you are welcome. Pretty smart having his lottery numbers on the wall, 24, 34, and 6. I've never even thought about doing that before, but that's actually a pretty fantastic idea. Polar Knights going to have to give that a shot there. What a beautiful picture that is, Polar Knights. I'm going to give you one good fart boom.
No,
that's a good fart boom there for you, Polar Knights.
Yo, you're farting into your own microphone that you put your mouth right next to.
That's okay.
So you're eating your own fart and you're okay with it?
Yeah, it's delicious.
You're a sick fuck. All right,
Robbie,
back to
we
the
gotta.
Kings at 97 points at second, Edmonton 93 in third in Pacific, Wildcard St. Louis Blues 93, Minnesota Wild 91, Calgary 87, Vancouver
Canucks
at 83, Utah Hockey Club at 82, and the rest of the teams are eliminated. I know you want to move on. Let's go.
Polar Knights, I am not American. You can't help it, chat. He is American. I am Canadian, my friend. Don't ever disrespect me like that again. Just kidding, Robert. Oh, Robert, speaking of someone who is nor American or Canadian, he is a Russian. Nikita Kucherov has become the fourth player in NHL history to have 3 80-plus assist seasons in a row. Throwing his name in the category of Gretzky, Paul Coffey, and Bobby Orr. How do you fucking do? A Canadian, let me give you a tribute sub. Sounds slutty. You can tribute sub me anytime you'd like, sir or ma'am. Polar Knights. Where are you from there, Polar Knights, in the chat? Yeah, it's a new name.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
But, Robbie, you got a guy.
Fuck your life. Bing, bang.
Oh! Oh! Polar Knights, what is going on? Thank you very much, sir or ma'am. I'm not sure what to call you. So we're just going to call you the GOAT. Thank you for the sub, GOAT. That's fantastic.
You know what Dad is probably saying right now to you, though?
What is it?
Shut up, bitch.
Well, that's 5 subs we got?
Shout out to Polar Knights. Polar Knights.
God damn.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, nice. That's fantastic. Appreciate it a lot.
Appreciate it.
What is the name of the sub again? Is that like, you mean like us?
No, I think he put the name of the sub.
Oh.
I'm actually a little scared because what if we know Polar Knights and it's like something that we can't repeat?
Well, we have to say it, man. The guy just gives it 5 subs.
I don't know. No. Maybe 500, I might say it, but no.
What if it was like Steve Kerr's son's name?
You can say it. That's all you.
That's Nick Kerr. That's his actual name. Robbie.
You are fucking wow.
Woo.
Nikita
Kucherov, though, Robbie, what do you think about this year? Fourth player to have 3 80-plus assist seasons in a row. Connor McDavid hasn't done it. Sidney Crosby hasn't done it. The last 3, the only 3, Gretzky, Paul Coffey, and Bobby Orr, Robbie. 3 absolute Hall of Famers. I went to a wedding with Paul Coffey once. Pretty sweet wedding.
Did you?
Yeah, it was my older brother's wedding.
Do you have any stories about it, or are you just going to leave it at that?
Well, he came into our, it was like a cottage wedding. It's like everyone was staying in like, it was like basically rented out like a cottage resort. So we fucking we had like the main like where me and my boys were staying was like the cottage kind of right in the middle of everything.
Right.
And we get a knock on our door. And it's fucking Paul Coffey. And he's like, "Hey, Matthew said that you guys might have an iPhone charger in here." Matthew, my older brother, and I was like, "Yeah, we do. Come on in." Very nice man. Didn't really, he had a few beers with him at the wedding, and we got to talk to him a little bit. There's a lot of cool people at that wedding. So,
why were you one of the cool people?
I mean, I was alluding to it all, but I got to meet him there. I got to meet Mr. Brad May, another NHL player, Jim Tree Living from Dragon's Den.
Mm-hmm.
Good time, Robbie. And congratulations to Kucherov. And Robbie, I sent you something on Twitter today, and we have to show this before we get out of this hockey news. Because, Robbie, I'm going to say to you this right now. This might be one of the sickest goals I have ever seen in my life. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory on this Quinton Byfield first, Robbie. He's a old second overall pick and kind of one of those guys that took a little bit of time to get his legs going in the NHL. Zach, you can now say to your friends, random men give me money to watch me live.
It's confirmed. It's a man. It's confirmed.
Okay.
Man.
Well, I will actually be saying that, Polar Knights, because that has a nice ring to it right there. That has a nice ring to it right there. I feel like I might know Polar Knights because he's not saying anything to you, Robbie. It's just all to me.
Exactly. Yes. No shit.
But look at this fucking thing of beauty here.
And then he puts it in with a save. He's sticking the defender down and then in behind. Wow. I don't know
One hand on his stick the entire time. Tips it and is able to corral the rebound all with one hand on his fucking stick. Let's see it one more time. Tip. Oh, my God. He tip passed it to himself. I mean, that might be the goal of the season for me right there, Robert. I know it doesn't look like much. Steve says I could do that. Steve. No, you couldn't. By the way, Steve, you got a phone call at the beginning of this podcast. I did not call you Baldy. And you can go back and play back and listen to it. If I need good hockey, it'd have to be American hockey. What the fuck does that mean, Polar Knights? But Robbie, that right there, my good friend, I believe is going to be all we diddly did and diddly have for the hockey. Unless you got something you want to throw out there, sir.
Go Leafs go when the time comes for playoffs.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
Now, are your Toronto Blue Jays playing right now?
Fuck, who knows?
I'll let you know right now. I'm going to scores here in MLB. Yankees have lost, I think, their third game in a row now, so we have to start. We're kind of cooling off of it. Yeah, you're going against the Boston Red Sox. You had 2 hits, and you made nothing out of it.
Nice.
Now, if that concludes it for hockey, I mean, I'm kind of teasing baseball here. Should we just go right into baseball?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Zachary, before we go into some baseball talk here, Adam Schefter tweets out this. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart visited today with the Cleveland Browns and will next fly to Las Vegas to meet with the Raiders. Dart has also spent considerable time during the interview process with the Giants, Saints, and Rams. So Jackson Dart is on the Browns' radar as of right now, bud.
I would hope to God not for second overall. That'd have to be a trade down situation.
Matty D, Brittany,
what's going on, folks?
Was that a
Matty D,
fog?
Brittany.
Zach's
Was
farts
that
boost.
That's a good question, Polar Knights. Polar Knights, what is your name? I feel like we've gotten to this point now. You know, Robbie, hit me some fucking baseball news. I'm trying to get all sauced up in the ball.
Don't you want to get sauced up right now? If you're not familiar with that sound, because Zach wasn't familiar with that sound, that is the home run horn for the Toronto Blue Jays. And Zachary, you guys hit it out of the park. Zachary, I'll say the news. You give your reaction. I think the Blue Jays fans have waited many, many, many years for something like this. You think of the Blue Jays, you think of Carlos Delgado, Roy Halladay, Vernon Wells, Jose Bautista's got to be in there, even though he's not homegrown. They finally locked up one of their franchise players, if not the best franchise player. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will be a Toronto Blue Jay for the next 14 seasons, $500 million, which comes out to an annual average of $35 million per year. Zachary, the floor is yours.
I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous that it took this long for that deal to come to fruition, because I feel like everybody in their every single person in the right mind kind of had a feeling that it was going to fall to something around this sort of value at this sort of term. And honestly, Robbie, I'm just genuinely very pleased, you know? Like, you look out, we've missed out on Shohei Ohtani last year for $700-something million. You missed out on Juan Soto for $700-something million. And I think we get a player that's got a similar caliber in a Juan Soto. Maybe not, you know, obviously Juan Soto probably gets a little bit more of an edge over Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but you're getting a pretty similar player, in my opinion. Very offensive upside. Defense could definitely some work to be done there, but Vladdy has shown some spurt to being a great first baseman, third baseman, but I don't know, Robbie. I'm just very happy this guy's decided to stick around. It's so hard for people, or for Toronto Blue Jays fans to get excited, because no one ever fucking wants to come to play for Toronto. And I can understand why. We got shit taxes. We have horrible weather in the winters. You know what I mean? It's just a big pain in the ass. But Vlad chose to come here when he was like a fucking 12, 13-year-old boy. He wanted to stay, and now he's going to be a Blue Jay for life. And when that guy retires, Robbie, there will not be a more beloved Blue Jay than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Speaking of Blue Jay news, you see fucking what our boy Johnny did?
I honestly went to the Gate 14 pod to try to see if I could see what he did. I've already started my arm care routine for Gate 14 first pitch at the Rogers Center. I don't see what he did. What did he do?
They interviewed Mark Shapiro.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So big moves for the Gate 14 podcast. I was pretty psyched up for Johnny to see that.
Good for him, man. He may have won Hollywood on us, but you know what? For the right reasons. Congratulations on all the success there, Johnny.
Yeah. But also, fuck you.
Yeah. In a way, yes. Zachary, what's been the hot topic of the MLB lately?
Definitely not the torpedo bats.
We're
not talking about those anymore.
Oh, it's the torpedo bats. So,
what?
Well, Zachary, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred has said that the torpedo bats are, quote, are absolutely good for baseball. So it doesn't sound like there's going to be anything done in the near future, Zachary. And honestly, not being biased here because, you know, we have Volpe who uses the bats. We have Bellinger who uses the bat. We have Jazz Chisholm who uses the bats. There's a bunch of other players that also use these same bats. It is good for baseball because at the end of the day, offense attracts the fans.
Yep. Yeah, you got that right, sir. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, Robbie. If anybody can pick up a torpedo bat and throw it in their lineup, then go right ahead. So if other teams are finding out the guys that can reap the repercussions of these things and provide an offensive boost from these bats that are still staying in the legal parameters, then who the hell am I to say that's wrong? Who the hell am I to say that's wrong? I will say this, so I'm happy with the boys. The Blue Jays are looking not too shabby this year, Robert.
Not too shabby, huh? Are they kind of like mid to you?
I think they got potential to be a playoff team this year.
Dude, we're like 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
All right, simmer down there, Zachary. Zachary, so on Netflix, they have documentaries for everything.
Yeah.
Basketball, football, golf. They did NASCAR for a season, and they finally had baseball. And the team they elected to go with for the first documentary season for last year was the Boston Red Sox. And what's taken surface all over social media for the right reasons is Red Sox all-star / outfielder Jarren Duran. This is a quote by him. Quote, I got to the point where I was sitting in my room. I had my rifle and I had a bullet. And I pulled the trigger and the gun clicked. But nothing happened. To this day, I think God just didn't let me take my own life because I seriously don't know why it didn't go off. But I took it as a sign of like, all right, I might have to be here for a reason. So that's when I started looking myself in the mirror. After the gun didn't go off, I was like, all right, do I want to be here or do I not want to be here? 2 years later, after the incident, which could have been during the season or the offseason, he was an all-star for the first time for the Boston Red Sox, and he is arguably the best player on that team, right there with Devers, with Crochet, with Bregman. But the fact of the matter is he's a marquee player, and for him to come out and really, like, it's hard to really put yourself out there in a situation like that, Zach. You know, it's hard to share stories about whether it's suicide or eating disorders or whatever it could possibly be, and especially when you're a professional athlete. And I don't think he was seeking sympathy. I think he's trying to show suicidal awareness because you can make millions of dollars, just like Jarren Duran, but you're still a human being, and the emotions can get the best of you. And he was just lucky that bullet didn't go through him.
Yep. I mean, I haven't seen this documentary, but yeah. All right, I'm going to be the asshole here.
Oh, no.
I always feel like these stories. I feel like these stories, like how many times have you heard of a guy putting a gun in his mouth, pulling the trigger, and just the bullet didn't go? You know what I mean? It just, hey, I understand if it actually happened, that's crazy, but I don't think he pulled the trigger. I don't think he pulled it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you, Zay. Too many times, Zach. He says too many times. I've seen it too many times, too. Okay? Now, I'm not saying he wasn't going through some things. Let's man up over here. Okay? Tell the truth.
Oh, my God.
All right, now let's get to something else.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
What?
Fucking God, Isaiah. What are we doing?
That guy didn't pull no trigger, man. That's a fucking Netflix story if I've ever seen one.
I, Robbie Clark, have nothing to do with the opinion of Zach Garone, as he is independently speaking about his own opinions and rights. I do not have any sort of agreement with him. This is the Skip Bayless Shannon Sharp moment where I'm Shannon Sharp and I'm thinking, like, I wish he would have taken that tweet down, like when DeMar Hamlin's freaking corpse was dead on the field, and Skip was like, well, we should get the game continue, go on, who cares that he died. You are the Skip Bayless right now. You are the Skip Bayless.
I'm adding a ticker.
I am not. I'm not putting it up there. I am going to put it up there.
No, don't put it up there.
Yep, I'm going to. Yep. Where is it?
So just so you know, Robbie, you're the one that is going to click and put this on there.
I don't see it. Maybe you can only put it up on your own. Go ahead, Zach. Put it up there.
It's way down at the bottom.
No, it's not. Because way at the bottom here it says, why did the Grizzlies fire head coach Taylor Jenkins? Because we didn't update our fucking tickers. Yep.
Where do you see that?
Hit your fucking thing. Let me see.
Where do you see why do the Grizzlies?
Because I have my own thing. You put your own thing up there. So click on the fucking thing and be a man and put it on the screen. Put it on the screen.
No, let's get into something else here.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to do it, so.
You fucking click on the fucking thing like this. You click, it says show. It says show, you click, it shows. You hit hide, it hides. Like your penis.
I don't think I had that option.
Oh, well, I guess you're out of luck.
You dumbass. Robbie, what else do we... I think that's actually it for baseball news, isn't it?
Let's just take a look over here. Baseball really quick.
My ticker was Jarren Duran is a pussy. That was my ticker.
You are just the biggest piece of shit on this planet. I swear to God. You're just a fucking... All right, we're moving on. We're going to the NBA.
For 3. All right. Your boy's got to get a glass of water. My mouth is drier than a nun's vagina right now. BRB.
You're not getting a beer?
I don't have any beer right now, to be honest with you. I'm going to do water today.
I'm drinking by my... You know, these are the type of things that are wrong with him. You could have told me we could have both just been fucking water virgins today. Did you guys hear him like really slam his cup there to like lay down the law that he has fucking water? Well, there we go. All right, folks, we're coming at you with some, in case you're living under a rock, which some of you sometimes do, we're coming out with some breaking news.
Holy shit, that was so delicious.
That's what she said.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, according to ESPN's Shams, just days before the playoffs, literally days, the Denver Nuggets have fired head coach Mike Malone and general manager Zachary. What the fuck's his name on the notes there? Because I didn't like to tweet his name.
Calvin Booth.
Both have been fired days before the playoffs begin.
Okay.
Zachary, do you have anything you'd like to share?
Did this guy did these guys fucking tag team one of the assistant coaches or something? What the hell is going on here in Denver? The only way I saw this saying, I was like, oh, these guys must have pig roasted one of the fucking chefs or something from the Denver Nuggets. Like, you just won an NBA championship.
2 years ago.
You are, as Robbie's, 2 years ago, but still, as Robbie's alluding to, we are days away from the playoffs. Sure, you're not the 1 or 2 seed like you probably had envisioned, but you still have a hell of a team this year. I believe they're a 4 seed right now. I think they're 4th.
Hold on, I was about to open the beer. NBA in standings. And I will scroll down to the West because the East is first. They're 47-32. They're 4th. They're a game and a half out of the 3rd spot. And they're well, I guess it's either 3rd or whatever because Houston has the number 2 locked up, which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
They're a game and a half out of the Lakers for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, it's a little bit unbelievable. I mean, to fire your coach this time of the season is absolutely ridiculous. And I just can't see Denver winning a championship now, Robbie, this year. I feel like that's just going to be one hell of a shakeup. The West this year is a tough task. I mean, you are filled with good teams.
Yes. Or come, one of the two.
Okay, Jesus Christ. But I'm going to say that this is going to be a move they're going to look back and go, fuck, we really fucked up. But it also kind of keeps you thinking, like, what the hell did this guy do? What happened behind closed doors that we don't know of?
Well, I have an audio clip from 2 weeks ago, and this could have played a part. Let's listen in on former head coach Mike Malone. Oh, you fucking bitch. Play.
And have some pride. I didn't think we played with any pride tonight.
I feel like they took that.
I really care. It's not my job to evaluate how they take things. My job is to be honest and sometimes brutally honest. And tonight it was a brutally honest message. And the guys that are full of shit won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film. And I said, if somebody disagrees with me, please speak up. And nobody said a word. So again, I'm not really concerned with how they took that message. My thing is being honest with how we just played. And the same thing that's been bothering us of late that I talked about pregame, the turnovers, the rebounding, was even worse tonight. And I didn't think it could get any worse, but it did.
Now, Nikola Jokic has been going off his last couple games, including which we didn't have in the notes here. A 61-point triple-double, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 61 points. And you know what happened that game that he had that? They lost. He's averaging over 40 points in his last 4 or 5 games. But from what I saw, I didn't like the tweet here. I'm going to see if I can scroll down. Oh, here it is right here. According to Chris Broussard, who has an amazing track record with ESPN and now with Fox Sports. This is from Chris Broussard. Quote, Mike Malone not being as hard on Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray reportedly rubbed some Nuggets players the wrong way. You know who this really sounds like to me? And call me nuts. Do you know who this really sounds like to me? And so I'm going to say I'm biased.
I saw it is biased. I saw you writing it all over your social media today that this is Russell Westbrook's fingerprints all over it.
All fingerprints on Porter Jr. All fucking fingers.
I think you're just a big Westbrook hater, to be honest with you.
Well, it's not going to be Nikola Jokic because at the end of the day, Jokic doesn't really care. He cares about his fucking horses. And the 2 franchise players for the Denver Nuggets until their time comes is going to be Jokic and Jamal Murray. So do you expect him to be as hard as – that's just like the whole situation why Kevin Durant left Golden State was because Steve Kerr wasn't so hard on Steph Curry. Of course not. He's your fucking franchise player. He'll be hard on him when they needs to be, but outside of that, he's not going to be all up on him because he's the player that's going to win a championship. Jokic is the player that won them a championship. But the thing that's most no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it. Most stupid. You're 2 years off of an NBA championship, and this guy is the most winning head coach in your program's history. I can understand the general manager. You know why? Because they failed to have gotten a superstar to go alongside with Nikola Jokic. They have failed. Okay? Russ isn't the same player that he once was. And I think outside of Russ, that's probably the most like marquee name that they brought in since their championship 2 years ago. Would you agree?
I'd say so, yeah.
So the general manager wasn't doing his job. But Mike Malone will get a job next year. And I know very goddamn well where he's going to go.
And where's that?
Well, unfortunately, one of the coaches probably won't be able to coach anymore because he suffered a stroke. And he probably won't be able to be on the sidelines anymore. So if you ask me, Greg Popovich is going to have to retire medically. And Mike Malone will be the head coach for the San Antonio Spurs next season.
I mean, it would be a pretty easy fit for him.
Easily.
I mean, you got a guy with an NBA championship pedigree.
I really, and we'll find out somewhere down the line, and I could be wrong about Russ, and I probably am wrong about it being Russ, but I'll tell you what, dude. They're going to fucking regret this. They are going to regret this because if he gets paired up with Victor Wembanyama, with Stephon Castle, with Keldon Johnson, with De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio, Zach, incoming dynasty.
I'm going to wait to see until more comes out, Robbie, because something's not adding up here.
Calvin Booth was reportedly dismayed that Michael Malone continued to play Russell Westbrook over Jalen Pickett. Quote, Booth wanted Malone to use younger players that he drafted and wanted Malone to stray away from using veterans for so many minutes. Jalen Pickett is a good example of this, according to league sources. Booth was dismayed that Malone went with Russell Westbrook over Pickett down the stretch of multiple games last week. Booth being the general manager. So there was a disagreement between Booth and Michael Malone.
Booth is on fire.
Last 6 Russell Westbrook head coaches. Mike D'Antoni, Scott Brooks, Frank Vogel, Ty Lue, Darvin Ham, Mike Malone. There's only one of them left coaching, and it's Ty Lue.
Ty Lue.
The interim coach will be David Adelman, will assume our head coach role for the remainder of the season. I'm surprised they just didn't wait till the season was over, man, because
that's why I think something fucking happened. That's where my mindset is like, what the fuck happened?
And it wasn't because the general manager got fired too. So what did the owners see as to fire both the GM and the coach?
With 3 games left or however many games left.
And then, not to mention too, I mean, they're going to lock up a playoff spot. They're not going to have to play in the play-in. So you could use that off time to reconstruct whatever fucking gaps are in. You could fill in the void, but instead they move on. I couldn't believe it when I got the update today, and I'm still in shock. 4 of the last 6 title winning coaches have now been fired. 2019, Nick Nurse was fired by the Raptors. 2020 Frank Vogel got fired twice by the Suns and by the Lakers. Mike Budenholzer got fired by the Bucks, and he might get fired after this season. And Michael Malone.
God damn. Michael Malone, join the party, Robbie. Well, Robbie, you just made a reference to Mr. Budenholzer. And let's talk about him, Robbie, because, yeah, this guy might be getting the snips.
Yeah.
Just so I don't sound like a retard. He coaches the Suns now, right?
Yes.
Thank God. Well, I guess I did just sound like a retard.
Nick Wright on the firing of Michael Malone and Calvin Booth. Wherever Russell Westbrook goes, guys lose their jobs.
I'm sure Westbrook would like to hear that one. Well, he wasn't in Phoenix, Robbie, and I guess maybe that's why Budenholzer still has a job, but the Phoenix Suns have been eliminated from a playoff and play-in contention, Robbie. Womp, womp, womp. Now I got to ask you this, Robbie. Where do you rank this as one of the most, or where do you rank this for the most failed season in NBA history? Because I think we got to throw this puppy up near the top of the list, Robert.
Well, I'll tell you what, because I made that note. You tell me first. You had
well, I mean, if we're talking failed seasons, the one that I can remember, Robbie, with you have a team that has a prime Devin Booker, albeit an aging Bradley Beal, a Kevin Durant that still has some good fight left on him, and this team doesn't even crack a play-in contention spot. I'm pretty sure I had this team winning the NBA championship at the beginning of the season.
I had them going to the finals of Budenholzer winning Coach of the Year.
So, I mean, I am going to say that, yeah, this probably all time is in the top 5 of the most failed seasons in NBA history.
When you think of failed seasons, you honestly, like, when the Brooklyn Nets got swept by the Celtics, was it shocking? Yes. But is it worse than this? No. How about the Lakers with Kobe and Steve Nash and Powell? But Steve Nash got hurt. Kobe was hurt. You don't look at that as failed seasons. A lot of you guys here that are listening right now, if you could think of any NBA teams that we are surpassing that have failed, put it in the comment section below. The Showtime Clippers, they made the playoffs. They never really got past the first or second round, but they made the playoffs. And in the NBA now, where we're trying to protect LeBron James' legacy by having this bullshit play-in tournament, which kind of like should help Kevin Durant's legacy, let alone that Kevin Durant does have an ankle injury, and he is putting up fantastic numbers, by the way. Zach, this is the biggest failing team in NBA history. They traded the young pieces. They traded Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and a couple picks to the Brooklyn Nets to bring in Kevin Durant. They were eliminated in the first season with Kevin Durant. They move on. They move on from Chris Paul. They bring in Bradley Beal with his no trade clause contract. First year, they're eliminated in the playoffs by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then they fire Frank Vogel. They bring in former NBA head coach, obviously he was former NBA head coach, champion head coach, and coach of the year, Mike Budenholzer. They bring in Jusuf Nurkic. They bring Tyus Jones on a cheap contract where he probably could have gotten more money elsewhere. Jusuf Nurkic gets released because he sucked. Bradley Beal goes to the bench. Kevin Durant had 2 injuries in the season. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't. They fired Monty Williams. They fired Frank Vogel. So when Kevin Durant's 3 years there, 2 head coaches were fired.
That's not good.
Zach, they traded their future in hopes to win a championship. They traded their future by giving away picks to the Wizards and to the Brooklyn Nets. And now they have to somehow find a way to convince Devin Booker to stay.
With no draft picks in the near future.
No.
Yeah. See you later, Book. See you later, Durant.
Kevin Durant's definitely gone after the season. I don't know.
Toronto.
We went over the season, not going there.
He's going to come to Toronto.
Let's put 100 American on it right now. 100 American.
Okay, well, that seems like a pretty unfair bet in odds in favor for me.
Let's do it. Let's do a gentleman bet. We'll do 10 American.
No, that's still. It should be 10 American. If I lose, I give you 10. If he does come to Toronto, you got to give me like 1,000.
Go fuck yourself.
Well, it's called betting odds, my friend.
Go fuck yourself.
No, thank you.
You're fired.
Ooh, but Robbie, there's one thing I will say about the NBA, and it's that these standings, especially in the Western Conference, are absolutely ridiculous right now, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got them open right here, Robbie. If you don't mind.
Sure.
Holy shit. Okay, leading the pack, OKC. We're going to go to the West over here first. Oklahoma City leading the pack in the West and leading the pack in the entire NBA. I still got this team winning it all this year, Robbie. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it seems to be a pretty big runaway for MVP, although Jokic with his games he's having last little bit is definitely making a case for himself. As you mentioned earlier, Robbie, right behind them with an 8-2 record in the last 10 games. The Houston Rockets with a 52-27 record. Unbelievable. What a turnaround season for them. Los Angeles Lakers coming in at third with a 48-30 record, 5-5 in their last 10. Doncic has really helped turn this team around. And then the Mike Malone-less Denver Nuggets at 47-32. Sitting in their last 10 at 3-7, so maybe that had something to do with it. But again, seems like it's still a quick pull of the trigger. Robbie, here's where it gets interesting. Here, you have the Los Angeles Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Memphis Grizzlies, all sitting at 46-32. Robbie, all tied right now. The Clippers hold 5, Golden State 6, Minnesota 7th. And Memphis 8th. So Minnesota-Memphis would have to play in the play-in tournament if the season were to end today. But lucky for us, it does not. But still pretty crazy. We got 4-way tie in between those two. And then there's a bit of a drop-off here. Sacramento in the 9th spot at 39-40. Dallas in the 10th spot at 38-41. And Phoenix, Portland, San Antonio, New Orleans, and Utah make up the last 5. Utah with a 16-win season right now.
They're all eliminated. They're all eliminated.
Moving it on to the East. Actually, before moving on to the East, Robbie, would you have anything you want to say about that West right there?
The 5, 6, 7, 8 is tighter than a nun.
Tighter than a nun's box, I tell you, brother. That thing is tight. All right, sir. Moving it on to the Eastern Conference here, sitting at the top. First place in the East, second place in the NBA. Cleveland Cavaliers, 62-16 record. Right behind them are the Boston Celtics, ex-NBA champions of last season, 58-20 record. Following them, New York with a 15-28 record. Pacers sitting in fourth place, 47-31, 8-2 in their last 10 games. The Milwaukee Bucks holding on to fifth place with a 44-34 record. And one of the more surprising teams, rather, of this season, the Detroit Pistons, Robbie, holding on to the 6th spot and a actual playoff spot with a 43-win, 36-loss record going on right now. Moving into the play-in tournament, Orlando Magic sitting at the 7th spot here with a 38-40 record, followed by the Atlanta Hawks in the 8th seed, 37-41, just behind Orlando. And just behind them, a team that has been pretty hot as of recent, the Chicago Bulls, 36-42 record in the 9th spot. Rounding out the play-in tournament are the Miami Heat, 36-43, another team that has been relatively hot over the last 10.
They could thank Jimmy Butler for that.
Yeah. And then I believe all these teams are also eliminated, Robbie. Toronto, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Washington all out of the tournament and playoffs as well.
It's worth noting that the Sixers are on a 12-game losing streak.
Yeah, the Sixers are a fucking dumpster dive. Me and Robbie are here for it, but this at this point of the season, I actually would like.
They have multiple injuries: Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. There's no excuse for the Suns. Sixers is up there for one of the worst seasons by a team in recent memory, for sure.
Like this season?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can't really blame them for this season, though. They were injured the entire season.
Yes, I can. Paul George was fucking the worst version of Paul George we've ever seen. Tyrese Maxey did his thing. He balled out, and Joel Embiid can't stay healthy, per usual.
Jal. Well, Robbie, I don't know if you got anything else you want to go over with the NBA, but
yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
So, Zachary, I was looking through some things today, and I don't want you to look at the standings right now. I want you to stay far away from the standings.
From NBA, okay.
There is a tie in the NBA in terms of teams. They are both tied for the lowest points per game as a team total. 105.1. Could you guess what two teams are tied? And hints are allowed.
So 2 teams are averaging 105.1 points per game.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to start off with, I'm going to say the Jazz.
The Jazz average 111.7.
Okay. Then I'm going to keep going from the bottom of the list here. I believe I saw Washington and Charlotte down there, but I feel like Charlotte would average a higher point per game. I'll say the Wizards.
The Wizards average 108.3.
Well, I'm going to say the Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets.
The Raptors at 110.7. The Brooklyn Nets are tied at 105.1. There is one other team tied with the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, I'll let you use a hint. East or West?
East.
Okay.
So you already said the Wizards.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia averages 109.5.
Charlotte.
The Charlotte Hornets average 105.7.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I think that's every team that's out of the playoffs.
That is. So what does that tell you?
So it's a playoff team.
In the playoffs. The Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, I can't fucking... I'm going to go Bulls.
The Chicago Bulls average 117.8 points per game. They are a scoring team. Defense is their problem. They average, the other teams average 119.9.
Okay, I'm going to go the Miami Heat.
The Miami Heat average 110.
Okay, I'm just going to say the Detroit Pistons.
The Detroit Pistons average 115.2.
Fuck me.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Magic.
The Orlando Magic average 105.1. The Orlando Magic and the Brooklyn Nets are tied in the NBA for the lowest points per game total in the NBA.
Damn,
the
Orlando's
Magic
probably
have
got
a
some
38.
fire.
They have a 38-40 record. The Brooklyn Nets have a 25-53.
That's pretty opposite, Rooney.
But the Magic only give up 105.6 points per game, which I believe is the best in the NBA. So, take what you can give.
Yeah. But Robbie, what do you say we move on to some college? I almost pooped there. Dude. Ass. Pass me the rock. Feed me the rock.
Feed me the rock.
Okay, we're going into a doubler here.
Feed me the rock. Matty D, you're out of your goddamn mind.
This has to be somewhat of a copyright infraction. Well, you know what, Robbie? You play the chant. We're going to start it off there. We're going to the lesbian side. And by that, I mean the women's basketball tournament. Robbie almost spat out his beer. The UConn Girl Huskies, Robbie, they get it done again. They get it done again. It is now, it was about an 8-year span, though, since their last championship, which I didn't realize it had been that long because they had such a dominant team. back in the day, you just kind of always, I mean, I don't really keep too much eye on the female tournament, to be honest with you, but with this year being Paige Beckers, whatever the hell her last name is.
Beckers.
With it being Paige Beckers last year, Robbie, I did tune in a little bit to watch a bit of this tournament here, especially majority of the finals I had on the TV there. And boy, oh boy, this UConn team, Robbie, there's only one term to say for what they did in that finals, Robbie, and that is belt to lesbian ass. Smash, smash, smash. All they did was beat some ass that night, Robbie. On the paint, smash. Outside the paint, smash. Rebound, smash. Threes, smash. An absolute decimation for a national championship, Robbie, coming in as a 2 seed, taking down multiple 1 seeds on their way to a championship, Robbie. Play the clip.
And there's the buzzer. It's an even dozen for Gino Auriemma and Connecticut. The final page in the Book of Beckers is title number 12 for UConn.
Like, look at that thing. Let's see what we got here. Now, Robbie, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Paige Beckers, would you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Big fan. Zachary, 12 national championships. And this guy transcended women's basketball. And a lot of times people are like, well, we should see him go coach the men, see if he can do the same. Zach, Gino had something to him unique, whether he coached men or women's sports. One of his biggest fans, and in case you never heard the story, go on YouTube, and Gino Auriemma would explain the text messages he used to share with Kobe Bryant. Gino Auriemma is a genius basketball coach, and he's just a genius in general. This guy has won his first national championship in 1995, Zachary. 12 championships in 30 years since, he won his first national championship, which, Zachary, if I can do the math here really quick, I'm going to go over to my calculator here as you're indulging in some Mary Jane.
No. It's about one championship every 2.15 years.
40%. That is fucking insane, dude. Zach, Gino Auriemma is the greatest college and I've said it before, but in case you haven't heard it, then you're going to hear it now. He's the greatest college basketball coach in college basketball history. John Wooden, make way. Mike Krzyzewski, make way. Roy Williams, make way. Pat Summitt, make way. There's no one that stands at the level as Gino Auriemma because domination. A lot of these talented women basketball players, he was able to basically recruit them all. Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Breanna Stewart, Paige Beckers, and the list goes on and on. But the thing that's different is, what did we say? Was it an 8-year gap since his last championship?
I think it was 2016 before this one. So
9 years. We've seen a lot of talented women go to play other universities. Caitlin Clark, Iowa State, Sabrina Ionescu, Oregon, Angel Reese, LSU, amongst many other women. You threw me off guard there.
We're not an Angel
Point of the matter
Reese
is, Zachary.
Fuck you, Angel Reese.
Yeah, we're not a fan.
You dirty bitch. Keep going.
I didn't go that far. Zach, what else can you say outside of just go?
I mean, the guy is dominant, Robbie. He is absolutely dominant. And it would have bounced back too, because you look at these, like the last couple of years, I feel like I've been, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, but I feel like it's been South Carolina. They've been the school last couple of years.
South Carolina and LSU.
Yeah. So, I mean, to come in, I believe they took down both those teams.
I don't know if they took down LSU, but they did take down South Carolina, obviously, because that's who they won championship against. Now, Zachary, in his lifetime, in the 90s, he won his one championship in 95. In the 2000s, he won in 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2009. So he won back-to-back-to-back. In the 2010s, 2010, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Back-to-back-to-back-to-back. And now 2025.
Sorry, they didn't beat LSU, but they beat UCLA, who beat LSU. And also, I read a stat. I really wish I would have saved this, but Paige Beckers, I think in her career now, UConn took down six or seven 1 seeds in the tournament.
That's amazing.
So I mean, that's like just ridiculous. And then if you look at just this run alone, Robbie, UConn took down a number 1 seed in USC, a number 1 seed in UCLA, and then a number 1 seed in South Carolina.
One second.
Yep.
It's worth noting when they took down USC, they didn't have their best player because she tore her ACL in the tournament, Juju Watkins. That is worth noting.
It is worth noting, but and that's obviously terrible for.
I gotta put respect where respect's own, where it's owed. Juju Watkins and USC beat UConn in the regular season. Without her, they lost. So I'm going to show some respect there, bro.
Well, let's say thank God that they didn't have her.
Agreed.
And we wish a speedy recovery for the Juju. Is she Jewish by any chance?
I just think she's Juju, like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Well, Robbie, again, an extended congratulations to Gino and all the lovely women and lovely ladies for the UConn. I just call them the UConn Girl Huskies. I don't know if that's actually their name, Robbie, but I like the way that sounds.
UConn Women Huskies.
Okay. But Robbie, let's move it on to the men's side here. And obviously our UConn regular Huskies, bing, bing, were unable to three-peat this year, Robbie, which we kind of knew was going to happen going into this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone here thought that Duke was going to be the standout team. I mean, myself included, I thought Duke was going to not walk to this championship, but I thought for sure if I had to put any money on a team, I would have put way more money on Duke over any of these other teams. And they had arguably one of the biggest fumbles I've ever seen in my entire life against Houston in the semifinals. An absolute late lead, as Bob just said in the comment section, absolutely choked. Late lead, they muff a fucking a throw in with about 28 seconds left.
They muffed like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Duke gives it up, and then Houston takes it, miss a 3, puts back an open jam, and then who's it? Proctor? Is that the gentleman on Duke?
I don't know.
The guy who shot the free throws is statistically their worst free throw shooter.
Yeah,
and he's holding on to the ball.
Yeah, instead of giving it to Cooper Flagg.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Selfish.
Yeah. I at the end of the day, I really didn't give a shit because I like watching Duke go down. Duke's one of those teams that's easy to hate.
Yep.
But they did have a certain vibe to him this year, Robbie, where you kind of were able to get behind him a little bit. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Houston ends up taking down the beast. Number 1 defense takes down a stacked offense. I believe 3 guys are projected to go in the top 7 in the NBA draft from Duke. So one of the best teams statistically and analytically that college basketball has ever seen, from what I've been hearing from all these different sporting guys. And they don't get the job done, Robbie. They lose a tight one to Houston. Florida takes down Auburn. And we have a Florida-Houston final Monday night. I'm going to say a quick fuck you to the NCAA because you do this shit to me every year. You do this shit to Robbie every year. Your day is Saturday. Why not make the national championship on a Saturday? For football and basketball, you make it a Monday night at 8:30, and you just tell hard-working blue-collar men like me and Robbie to go fuck ourselves because we can never watch any of it.
Now, they did do 8:30 this year. Last year was 9 o'clock, so the UConn game didn't until after the night.
Yeah, but even 8:30. I mean, like, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. You're up at 3:30 in the morning. It's like, fuck. Get the fuck out of here. Put this shit on a Saturday, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of world they live in. And this has been a problem for many years, Zach. Many years.
So I unfortunately didn't get to watch much of this game, Rob.
I didn't watch any of it.
But from what I heard,
busy day at work. So
from what I heard, it was a hell of a game. Florida gets their third national championship in program history.
Yep.
Defeating Houston in a close 67 to 65 point match. I wish I had more intel on it, folks. I did see going into the second half, I believe, or late in the first half, Houston had a pretty commanding, like 8 to 10 point lead, and I said, that might be it for old Florida. But Florida's offense came up to play in that second half,
as they did
get the job done.
Huskies.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations to the Gators. I really doubted them because at one point this year they had a game where they scored barely over 40 points and they shot under 25% field goal as a team collectively. And we don't make a lot of notes for college basketball during the regular season, but we made note of that because that was also a week of some major upsets. Not good. But they rebounded and they really bounced back as a team collectively in their national championships, and you can't take nothing away from them. And good for Florida too, because Florida's been known to be very good at college basketball and college football. The college football program has gone to shit essentially, but the basketball program is promising for those Gators fans because they are some passionate ass fans. So congratulations to the Florida Gators, well deserved, and to the Houston Cougars, job well done. Job well done.
Yeah, you can't be upset about that. Making it all the way to the finals, and Houston has really turned into quite the basketball school. Yes. Over what seems like the last three to 4 seasons here. I
feel like they overtook what Virginia was.
Yeah. Virginia, even like a team like an Arizona, I think used to be a pretty good little battle. I don't know. Houston, I think is going to be one of those schools that might be maybe a more of attractive destination than it used to be in basketball years.
Now, I want to go to the NBA standings here really quick since we're on the college basketball topic because it brings up Cooper Flag. So the Washington Wizards have the worst record in the East, and the Utah Jazz have the worst in the West. Now, the Pelicans are right above the Jazz. They have 21 wins, 57 losses. Right above the Wizards is Charlotte at 19 and 59, followed by Philly at 23 and 56. So if you're Cooper Flag, I mean, this is a lottery. This isn't the NFL where it's like you're automatically going to the Utah Jazz. But something tells me that he has this dog mentality. And a lot of people I talk to work like, are you going to turn down millions of dollars? Whoa, dude. He's making millions of dollars to play at Duke. Is he making NBA money? No, but he's making damn good money. So at the end of the day, it's like if he's making 6-7 mil going into next season as a 20-year-old, and the last time Duke captured a championship, Zach, do you know who their star player was?
No.
I'll tell you what, it's not Jason Tatum. It's not Kyrie. It's Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, you could have given me 10,000 guesses. And Jahlil Okafor would not have been.
He was nasty in college, but never translated into the NBA. That's the last time they won NBA championship. Not with Banchero neither. And Coach K's last year. Nope. Jahlil Okafor. So when you're Cooper Flag, do you sit there and you look at it, it's like, damn, Kyrie couldn't do it. He's one of the best players in the NBA. Damn. Tatum couldn't do it. He's an NBA champion, but he couldn't get it done at Duke. Damn, Banchero couldn't get it done. Do you look at that and maybe go to yourself, I want to go to the NBA. My time will come. I want a natty because this program deserves it. You and I don't think so because we hate Duke, but damn well he's probably looking at it salivating like this program deserves it.
I mean, especially now with NIL, it does make it a lot more of an attractive destination.
Everyone thinks that it's like clear cut. Like, all right, we're gonna fucking bounce and go make our millions. That makes sense. But now with the NIL, you're making money.
Yeah, a fuck ton of money, especially if your name is Cooper Flag. So I guess I'll just have to wait and see what he ends up choosing to do, Robbie. But I think if he's looking at the teams, I mean, to me, if your goal is to become an NBA player, then you take your chance at any single point you get it. You go into that draft this year, no matter who. I'm also a firm believer of, and I'm not in this position, it's an honor no matter what team selects you. You're getting drafted to fulfill your lifelong dream and to be a first overall pick. Okay, so you're going to have to go play in Washington or you're going to have to go play in Utah.
Fuck that.
It's going to suck dick. Don't get me wrong, Robbie. But you're born to be an NBA player.
Nope.
And the way the NBA works now, Robbie, that you're not signing your death sentence there. Go there, play for a couple years, and then say, I don't want to be here anymore. Trade me.
Disagree. That's a death sentence playing with the fucking Washington Wizards. That's a death sentence playing with the Charlotte Hornets. I won't say the Jazz because they have success, but those two teams, that's a death sentence right there.
Well, you can give me a death sentence and ink me to fucking $25 million, however much you want to pay me.
$5 million fucking dollars, though.
Okay, what's he going to make in 4 years?
Eventually, he will get over, significantly over that with his talent. But I mean, I'd rather play with Duke one more year, try to win a natty, than go play for the fucking Jazz or the Wizards or the Hornets, especially the Wizards and Hornets.
I don't know. Tomorrow was never promised, so you never know what the fuck could happen to you at any second of any day. And I feel like, and I'm not saying that I feel like when I say it, I'm like, are you wishing an injury upon him? No. What if he goes in there and blows out both of his ACLs on a fucking dunk next year? There goes the NIL. There goes this ad, that ad. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Now, it might be better to blow up both ACLs and go and play for the Washington Wizards. I'm not too sure.
You're right. The risk of injury, you were correct. Time will tell, but you and I probably both agreed that he probably will enter the draft. I just think that for me, it'd be better off for him to stay with Duke.
Well, I mean, in today's day and age, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that is what he chose to do, because these guys have a lot more, not even say they have a lot more power now, because if you look at like what the Mannings did back in the day, or was it Phillip Rivers was the other one that did it?
Maybe, yeah.
Or was he a part of the Manning one?
I don't remember. Now, Rivers was a part of the Manning. Eli got drafted by the Chargers, then Rivers got drafted by the Giants, and they swapped. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say the Wizards get the number one pick.
Yeah.
We look at a team with a lot of draft picks like the Brooklyn Nets, because and the Jazz. They both have a lot of draft picks. How many first-round picks would you want from either club for that number one pick to get Cooper Flagg?
I'd have to say at least a minimum of 3 to 4, depending on how good they are. 3 is an absolute minimum, but 4 would be the number I'd have in my probably 4 to 5, actually.
I was going to say, you know what I think the asking price would be for Cooper Flagg, and you got to hear me out? 7 or 8. Why do I say that much? Because the Nets got 5.
Yeah, but that you can't even
5 for Mikal Bridges. I told you, gotta let me finish. I'm not saying that that's worth it.
No.
NBA
but that's also
NBA executives look at like what the Nets got from Mikal Bridges and what the Timberwolves got from Rudy Gobert, and they're going to say, you're like, hey, this guy's under contract for 4 to 5 years. He's the future, arguably, of the NBA. This is what he's worth to us. It's just like with the Patriots with the number 3 pick. The Giants offered 2 or 3 first-round picks for Drake May. They said, no, we want more. The Giants are like, no, fuck that. We're not going to do it, because that's how they view these guys.
I know 7 to 8 is fucking retarded.
I wouldn't do it. I would say, you know what? We wish the best for you. We're going to save this for maybe someone that's better than Cooper Flagg.
Sidney Crosby has scored again.
Huh?
Crosby scored again. The man just does not stop scoring.
Well, unfortunately, they're eliminated, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He's still the greatest hockey player of all time.
No.
But Robbie, I don't know. I think what else you want in this NCAA, or should we slap it on to a little bit of a Masters preview?
Ooh, do I have any golf audio for the Masters? Let me see, Zachary. Should I check to see if we can have a little bit of a Masters?
I'm gonna open up my Bet365 and get some odds going.
Masters. Yeah, no, there's no way I'm gonna find that. I fucking put up Masters and it's.
Oh, I got money in my account. Let's go.
You got money. Yeah.
Ooh, should I do a
All right,
Masters
Zachary.
bet?
Before we get to the Masters, I want you to listen to this clip that I seen earlier, and then I'm going to follow up with another clip. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I actually have to search it up here because I apparently didn't like it. Okay. So, someone asked Rory McIlroy essentially, like, do PGA golfers, like, should they come to the stand essentially after a tournament like the NBA players do, like the NFL players and all that. And this is what Rory had to say about Zachary. You tell me what you think.
Rory, Colin Morikawa caught some criticism at the players for saying he owes the media nothing after he left Bay Hill early. You obviously caught some heat too after doing that at Pinehurst. The conversation after situations like that sometimes is, in comparison to other professional athletes, golfers can be a little more sensitive. I'm wondering if you think that's a fair or unfair assessment.
Well, he's right. Not that I think he could have worded it a little bit better, but look, every other athlete, whether it be in the NBA, NFL, they're obligated to speak to you guys after a game. We're not. So, you know, whether that's something that the PGA Tour looks to in terms of putting that into their rules and regulations, but as long as that's not the case, and we have that option to opt out whenever we want, you know, expect guys to do that.
Rory, Zach, hold on. Before you give your opinion here, I will follow that up with a gentleman who I believe works for the PGA Network and what he had to say about Rory's comments and essentially what Colin Morikawa did. So just give me 1 second here as I flip the clip.
As Colin would say, Ting Pao.
Okay, so here we go.
Let's go back to something that Rory said. He was asked by one of the writers about what Colin Morikawa did a couple of weeks ago at Bay Hill, and then backing it up a couple of days later in Ponte Vedra Beach at the Players. You alluded to it earlier, Eamon. What'd you make of what Rory said, backing up what Morikawa said and did those few days?
Well, he's right as a matter of policy, and I would argue wrong as a matter of principle. The players are not obligated in any of the rules and regulations of the PGA Tour to give time to the media afterwards. It's another argument as to whether they ought to be obligated or should they feel an obligation, because they are now nominally owners of the PGA Tour. They ought to be their own marketers. They should look upon that as customer service. In a way, when you have people who have invested time and money in your product, I think they are entitled to a little bit of something at the end of the narrative of the weekend. As much as I've criticized Greg Norman and Phil Mickelson over the years, they never walked away in the toughest moments. And both of those guys had plenty of those moments. And I still remember, it's almost 30 years ago now, and it was one of the most painful interviews I've ever seen. Stuart Appleby gave a press conference in which he talked about seeing his wife die in an accident in front of him. And he bawled his eyes out, and everyone in the room bawled their eyes out with him. People have faced work and felt a sense that they can actually share those moments. Golf tournaments aren't really that important in the grand scheme of things. I do think there's a sense among this generation of players that it's more optional than it ought to be. But as Rory said, maybe that's an issue for Jay Monahan. So your move, Commish.
I mean, I think both sides are right there, Robbie. I think, in my opinion, if you're a professional athlete and you're making millions of dollars, and when the time goes tough, you want to hire from the media, get the fuck out of here. Like you're making all this money, you gotta nut up or shut up. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna get paid the millions of dollars, you have a bad day, then you're gonna have to go on there and take it off the fucking chin like a man.
Right.
So for ducking and hiding and saying, realistically, Colin Morikawa is right. They don't owe the media anything. But they also kind of do owe the media something at the same time as well. I mean, it's a double-edged sword here. It's like the media needs them. Don't get me wrong, but they also need the media to get their sort of dollar values they want to get the ad revenues, to get the eyes on them, to get the storylines, to grow the game. Right. You need the media as well.
Right.
And it just makes you look like a softie if you're going to be hiding from them when the going gets tough.
I agree. Could you imagine the amount of people that were fucking frustrated after Pinehurst last year, like myself, like whoever else bought tickets to go to TPC River Highlands, because immediately after the U.S. Open, they headed over to Cromwell, Connecticut for the tournament. Can you imagine the amount of fans that wanted to see Rory McIlroy, and then you don't even get to hear him? You see a tweet about it from him explaining why he wasn't going to do it via tweet. It's bullshit. You know, I want to verbally hear your excuse. I want to hear like the emotions that you're feeling and his reasons why. So instead of me getting this interpretation that you're a giant pussy, you know, maybe you're going through some, because remember, I mean, he was going through a hard time last year. Him and his wife were set to divorce, and then, you know, they recouped everything. But at the end of the day, dude, like, it's like we said, do they have to? No, but should you feel obligated to talk to the media? Yeah, you should, because you're getting paid millions of fucking dollars. And You know, how often do you think LeBron James wanted to go to the podium after losing 6 NBA finals? I don't think very often, but he did it. As much as I criticize him, he did it. You know, and Rory, you're arguably the face of the PGA Tour, you know, because Tiger's a shell of himself. And a lot of the guys that should be the face of the PGA Tour went and made their millions with LIV, which you can't blame them one bit. And most of them are probably going to come back. That's a story for another day. But you're the face. You were the guy that said, you know what? They may have offered me all this money. I made my money. I'm going to stay true to the PGA. But then you lose a tournament that you choked and DeChambeau capitalized and you walked off like a little bitch. And then you came back to go play your Open in your hometown and you sucked even worse. So go fuck yourself, Rory.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it was a queef.
That was not a queef. That was a fart.
No.
Well, Robbie, I agree with what you said.
Well, what about Pepper odds as soon as you're done making your statement?
I was just going to say, as you bring up Rory's name, I have the Masters odds opened up right here, Robbie. And guess what, folks? I want to do a Masters parlay.
Right here, right now?
Is it a little early, you think? I want to choose 3 guys in the top 10.
Well, let's hear what the top 10 are.
Okay, so the first top 10 on the list here, obviously Scotty Scheffler opening up in the number 1 slot here.
Hot take. Scotty Scheffler is going to miss the cut. Scotty Scheffler hasn't been playing his best brand of golf.
No.
Yes, he came in second last week, but something's, and you know what? It could be, you know, just after your first child. You know, it happens to a lot of these athletes, including these golfers, and I think that he's suffering from it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see because it is Scotty Scheffler at the end of the day. But following him, Robbie, this guy is always at the top of the list when it comes to these majors. Rory McIlroy. Number 2 on the list is Rory McIlroy.
Yourself.
Number 3 on the betting list, and he's at a tie with this gentleman here, so I'll say both names at times $16. Scotty Scheffler's times 5.7, Rory McIlroy times 7.75. Colin Morikawa and Jon Rahm.
Jon Rahm?
Times 16.
Wow.
Are your 3 and 4. At times 18, Mr. Bryson DeChambeau.
Over Brooks?
Yeah. Brooks is at times 33 is what Brooks is at right now.
He must be doing really shit and LIV. That's the only thing.
He is having a terrible time right now, LIV.
DeChambeau, I don't think will make the cut neither. Something about him at the Masters. But I mean, he was like that at the Open for a while too, and he ended up winning 2 U.S. Opens.
Yeah. So, and then you have Ludwig Aberg times 20, Xander Schauffele and Justin Thomas times 25, Hideki Matsuyama and Joaquin Newman times 31, Brooks Koepka, Shane Lowry times 33, and then so on and so forth. This is a tough one here.
I think JT might win it.
Justin Thomas.
Yeah. Sutton, there's something that I was feeling yesterday saying that JT might win it.
Okay, well then I'm going to put Justin Thomas in my top 10 thing.
You know who else I'm a big fan of? I'm a fan of him every fucking Masters. Do you know who it is? Every Masters.
Will Zalatoris.
No.
Okay, I like what Bob just said there too. Neiman's won twice already on LIV. So you know what? I'm gonna add him into our top 10.
You're not gonna add this guy in top 10, but I like him.
Who?
He's a legend.
Phil Mickelson. I'm not putting him on this list. You fuck right off.
I like Phil Mickelson every year at the Masters, and I'm pretty sure last year he had a top 10 finish.
I'm gonna take. I think for my final top 10 pick here, I'm gonna take Ludwig Aberg.
Phil. Fuck. I don't know how to spell Mickelson. Fuck.
Or you know what, Robbie?
Phil Mickelson, 2024 Masters.
I'm taking Min Woo Lee, top 10.
I like that pick.
Okay, so this
Mickelson, 2024 Masters series. Wait, Zach.
Yeah, I saw it too.
We have a Toronto Maple Leafs goal. Scored by number 91, John Tavares.
So Phil Mickelson last year didn't do well. In 2023, he finished tied for second with Brooks Koepka.
Okay, well, right now I have Justin Thomas, Joaquin Neiman, and Minwoo Lee finishing in the top 10 for times 40.95.
How much you throwing on it?
I'm gonna put $16.
Okay, is that what's left in your account?
I have $66.92.
Oh, you made it out? Yeah, I do a lot too.
I'm gonna put $16.92.
Yep.
To win $692.87.
Wishing you nothing but the best, Zachary.
The bet has been placed, folks. Live on the Sports Cave. It has been placed.
Yeah, I'm big on JT. I'm not high in Scotty Scheffler or DeChambeau.
Well, that's a ballsy bet right there, Robbie.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
so
do believe we have our tea times for Thursday.
let's see these cocksuckers. Thursday's fucking coming up. Oh my god.
Well, we won't be able to watch Scotty Scheffler because he tees off at 10. I know that for a fact. Masters tea times. Tea times. Okay, here we go. They'll give me the most notable ones here. Okay, so from the PGA Tour here on Twitter, round 1, 10:15 a.m. We have Scheffler, JT, and Balster. We're gonna go with. At 10:26, we have Spieth, Kim, Hatton. At 12:50, we have Koepka, Henley, and Eim. Who the fuck is Eim? Same thing. 101, we have
Sungjae.
We have probably Adam Scott, Schauffele, Hovland. 112, we have McIlroy, Aberg, and Bahita. 123, we have Matsuzama. This is a good one. Matsuzama, DeChambeau, and Lowry. And at 134, we have Rahm, Clark, and Fleetwood.
Not bad. Those are the
Tea times for Thursday.
very nice. Oh, I'm gonna have to rush home from work on Thursday.
Fucking sucks, dude, because fucking if I was at my station at work, I'd play it on my radio, but because I'm running around the warehouse everywhere, I can't fucking like put it on my radio and listen. I don't have my radio with me where I'm at right now.
I got to keep mine. I just put my AirPod in.
Lucky you. I can't have AirPods, so only in the gym.
Well, Robbie, obviously we'll have a full breakdown of the Masters going into next weekend, but let's what do you say we shift our focus over to UFC 314? Or who do you have before we do that, Robbie, who do you have I know you've said a few guys you like, but if you had an outright pick of who's going to win this Masters?
Justin Thomas.
I'm going to say it's going to be Roy McIlroy.
I like that. You want to get to some UFC, you said?
Might as well. All right, folks. We actually have a pretty good fucking
yeah, we do.
UFC card here to go over, folks. And I'm going to start off with some of these ones in the prelims I'm seeing that I even recognize. Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper in the prelims. That should be a banger there.
He's a fucking legend.
Yeah, that guy still fighting blows me away.
He's a plus He'll probably retire after this fight. It kind of sucks that he's in the prelims, too, for his retirement, probably.
Well, if you look at who's on this card, I mean, I can see why.
Yeah.
And then I don't really know Jan Zenon versus Verna, whatever. Who the hell? They're two women.
Yeah.
Fuck right
Dan
off.
Ige, like Dan Ige.
Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson.
Is it Ige? I thought it was Ige.
I don't know. I've always said Ige. It could be Ige as well, too.
I see why you say it, you fucking asshole.
Dan Ige. All right, Robbie, let's move into the main card here. Starting off light heavyweight, Nikita Krylov against Dominic Reyes. That's a name you have not heard in a while. In my opinion, this man beat the poo out of John Jones in his prime, but
enough.
He beat his ass.
Nope, incorrect.
No matter what, Robbie, this should be a pretty damn good fight. I'm not too familiar with Nikita Krylov, but if you click his name here, he's a Ukrainian-born Russian professional mixed martial artist. So probably expect some sort of ground and pound bullshit here. But Dominic Reyes, excited to see him back in the octagon.
Yeah, I feel like you said, we haven't seen him in a while. Let me check see when his last fight was, because after the John Jones fight, he hasn't been the same, and he suffered a lot of
yeah.
So he has fought in December of 2024 against Anthony Lionheart Smith, who was clearly at the end of his career as well. You'd agree, correct?
That guy sucks. Yeah.
And then he fought Dustin Jacoby, who is 29-1. Who hasn't really? I think Dominic Reyes in his last 5 fights is the most notable fighter that he faced. Dominic Reyes beat him, and then Dominic Reyes lost to Jan back in 2020 for the light heavyweight championship when John Jones vacated it. Then he lost to Yuri, and then he lost to Ryan Spann. So, those are two. It's good to have those wins come back, but I don't know what we have. I don't know how much we have left to Dominic Reyes, dude. Because after that knockout by Jan, he never really was the same.
No, and that's how I was kind of surprised to see him making a comeback here. But maybe this is another one of his last. Maybe this is his last fight.
I don't know though. I mean, only a plus 160. I mean, who knows? Let's see who this Krylov guy has faced in recent time. Let's see. Well, he beat Alexander Gustafsson back in 2022, but he hasn't had a fight since March 11th of 2023. I wonder if it's just like a matter of injuries or what it could be. And he won that fight by submission against Ryan Spann, who also defeated Dominic Reyes.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to go against Dominic Reyes, going against him.
Yeah, me too. Robbie, this next fight here should be a bit of a banger. Featherweight Yair Rodriguez against Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull making his UFC debut. Robbie has only ever fought. He's been a big name in the fighting world. Was a Bellator guy for years, and UFC has been able to poach him. Man, does he come into some tough competition in Yair Rodriguez, Robert?
You skipped the fight completely. I'll bring up that fight after, but yeah, I mean that's a hell of a debut.
Which
against
fight?
Bryce Mitchell and Gene Silva.
Yeah, okay. On my list, it's the next one on the list.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm going to go with theirs is wrong because I'm on ESPN site, and that they got.
Oh, I'm on Wikipedia, so you're probably right.
You're on fucking Wikipedia for this?
Yeah, that's what popped up, man.
Fuck?
I was Googling it quick.
What the fuck's wrong with? I'm taking over.
Okay, go ahead.
Yair Rodriguez. So Patricio Pitbull, huh? With the Bellator and the PFL.
Yeah.
Well, he won the championship in his final fight with them against Jay Kennedy. Who the fuck is Jeremy Kennedy? Can you guess what country he's from?
I'm going to say America.
Canada.
Oh.
And then he lost to, is that Showtime Pettis? Sergio Pettis. Okay, maybe that's Anthony Pettis' like brother or something.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely was reading the wrong one here because, I'm on the UFC website and Bryce Mitchell was definitely the next fight coming up. So, oopsies.
So, I'm going to go with, I'll go with Yair Rodriguez. Yeah, Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. And this is what Dana White was referring to. A lot of people want him off the card. He goes, no, I'm not going to put him off the card because this is the UFC, and people who talk like that are going to get the shit kicked out of him. So if you want to see Bryce Mitchell get his ass kicked for the Hitler comments, this is when to do so. So will Bryce Mitchell get his ass kicked by Gene Silva? To be determined.
Well, Gene Silva coming in at minus 340, so
I'm
definitely a heavy favorite.
What are you on? Are you on UFC or Wikipedia?
I'm on UFC.
Okay, because he's a minus 265 on here.
Well, that's weird. UFC has him at a minus 340.
Well, this is weird. So the co-main event, what do they have for Michael Chandler, Patty the Batty Pimblett?
They have Patty the Batty at minus 155.
Well, they have him as minus 150 here, and Michael Chandler plus 125.
So pretty much saying plus 130 for Chandler on UFC.
Fucking sucks, dude, because I love Michael Chandler, but he's probably going to get the shit kicked out of him.
He's probably going to get tapped out. But you know what, Dan? The guy's got a gas tank in him, Robbie. He still has some power. And I am not, and I've been saying this since he joined the UFC, I am not going to get behind Patty Pimblett.
Oh, Patty the Batty.
I just don't think he's ever going to be a UFC champion. Sure, he'll be one of those guys that'll make Dana White a few mil every time he fights because he's a character and whatnot. But I don't know. I just don't think he's the real deal.
I think he's the closest thing they have to like entertainment wise as a Conor McGregor being from like Europe. Is he the fighter like Conor McGregor? Not even close. I just think he's the entertainer. This is like a warm up for Michael Chandler. So if Michael Chandler beats Patty the Batty, then he has to face Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor's got to stop doing drugs.
Yeah, he's got to stop doing the blow.
Yeah. But this is the moment everybody will be waiting for. The main event of the evening, featherweight title fight between Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez, I believe, is pretty similar to Max Blessed Holloway.
Yeah, I think a little bit more erratic, though.
Well, in his last 5 fights, we'll look at his last 2. He beat Brian Ortega by unanimous decision. And they also beat Dan, Ige by unanimous decision, where we look at Alexander Volkanovski's last couple fights. Full profile. He lost to Ilia Topuria, and then he lost to Makhachev, but he beat Yair Rodriguez, lost to Makhachev prior to beating Yair. So he lost to Makhachev twice, and then he beat Max Holloway.
That's pretty good record right there. Robbie, I just Googled it on Wikipedia, and it says it's pronounced Ige.
God damn it. All right, Ige. He's gay. Well, Zach, are you going with the youngster in Diego Lopez, or are you going with the veteran and arguably best pound-per-pound fighter at one point, Mr. Alexander Volkanovski? What is your decision?
My decision is the torch is going to get passed yet again, unfortunately, Robbie. I don't know what kind of damage Volkanovski has sustained in those last couple fights, but I know it can't be good, Robbie. And I think Diego Lopez is a crazy, crazy Mexican son of a bitch, or Brazilian, whatever the fuck he is. And he is just going to absolutely, I think he's going to mop the floor with him, Robbie. Diego Lopez is going to take down.
I don't know if I want to go with mop the floor, but I also see where you're coming from because, I mean, we're watching Volkanovski, last two fights, L's, Adesanya, last couple fights, L's. It's like that generation of fighters is like slowly fading away. So it's like as much as you want to give Volk his respect, I mean, you got to look at what's happened to him. You got to look at what's happened to Israel Adesanya and understand that they're new sheriffs in town. And I want Volkanovski to win based off of my, how much I like him as a fighter. But I think you're right. The 30-year-old entering his prime, Diego Lopez, will become the new featherweight champion of the world.
Sad day, but I believe that's what's going to occur.
Yeah, unfortunately. But we'll see because it all happens on Saturday night. And ladies and gentlemen, that does it for another episode of the Sports Cave. When we come back on Tuesday, we'll recap the UFC card. We will see who will win the Masters. We'll see some updated baseball news. We will see basically the start of NHL and NBA playoffs as they come. And also, just to note, everybody, just two notes. Our good friend Kyle McDonald, go follow John Boy Warehouse Games on YouTube. You can watch him compete against some of the other John Boy crew members, including former MLB player Trevor Plouffe, John Boy, Talking Jake, amongst other John Boy talents. And number two, when the NHL playoffs begin, we will be taking a look at the schedule. We will look to see when the Toronto Maple Leafs play, and I think Zach and I will be in agreement of the shows will either be on a Monday or a Tuesday, depending on my softball schedule as well. We will look to see what we are going to do for shows. And if anything, if Zach's got to go be with his boys and I do a solo episode, that's what it will be.
Bam.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting the fuck up out of here. For you boys that listen to the show and are playing softball this week in Waterbury, bundle the fuck up because it's going to be fucking brick. Zachary, take us on out.
You heard the man. Put on your goddamn parkas, you pussies. Just kidding, folks. We love the support, and we love everyone that tunes in here. And if you don't tune in, then go fuck yourself. And last but not least, folks, we will see you next Tuesday. Stay sexy, Sports Cave.
Go fuck yourself!